53, beautiful Philadelphia. Hey, who went to the Comcast party last night? I know I had a pretty good time. And also, let's give a hand to Infoblocks for the great breakfast. Great. So we have a sort of a loaded agenda. We have a lot of interesting stuff that we want to get to, but there's a few sort of opening comments and remarks we want to get, but we need Betty. Betty? Betty? Mr. Ward might be around somewhere too. He's up first after the festivities. So I'm going to turn it over to, I think, Steve first, right? Or is it Betty? Betty first. Okay. It's all complicated nowadays. Okay. Anyway, welcome to NANOG 53. I think we're going to have a great time, and we'll start with Betty, and then we'll get to the agenda as soon as this is done. So.
Sorry, folks, for the brief delay, and it's just NANOG. Just wanted to take a moment this morning, and Steve, do you want to come up? For many of you, you know Steve Feldman personally. Sylvie is coming as well. I'm going to talk a little bit of history, just very briefly, and then also have Sylvie say a few words. Steve Feldman has been not only a dear friend to NANOG and one of your colleagues, he's been extremely critical in helping NANOG get from where it had been many years ago to where it is today. Without Steve Feldman in the early days of what was called the evolution of NANOG from the way it used to operate with Merit Network, operating everything, to a place where we migrated eventually to now where NANOG owns, or where the community owns NANOG. I reached out to Steve Feldman and said, Steve, we need not only to have a merit-appointed chair, but we needed a community-appointed chair, and someone who the community respects, and someone who is calm and thoughtful, and that's you. Will you take on the responsibility for us? He never, ever said, oh, let me think about it. I don't know, maybe. He said, sure, let me see how I can help. And he's been very inspirational to me and a great friend. So Steve is term limited, and he will not be able to serve on the NANOG Board of Directors for a while, a couple years, and we're going to miss him. So, Sylvie?
So I've had the pleasure to work with Steve for the past 2 years, and I have to say this about Steve: he's a great leader. He looks calm, he's collected, and he was able to steer this organization during very tumultuous times without us hitting a wall, and that's really appreciated. He's thoughtful, he's always there, and most of all, he is so generous of his time. He's been putting countless hours to NANOG, probably 8 to 12 hours per week during the entire transition, if not more, making sure that we had the proper structure in place, making sure we had the proper contracts in place, making sure that this NANOG 53 would be as successful as it is today. So I really want to thank Steve on behalf of everyone on the board for his stewardship, his mentoring, and his amazing generosity. So this award is presented to Steve Feldman in recognition and appreciation for your years of service to the NANOG community. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. Oh, gee, I didn't know how to top that. I guess I'll quickly, before I do what I'm supposed to be up here to do, is thank Betty and Sylvie and everyone else on the board, everyone else out there for everything. Couldn't have done it without all of you. It's definitely not a one-man show. or a one-woman show, as Sylvie will find out probably in the next few days. It takes everyone to make it done. And while I guess I'm on the subject, I'm going to once again call out for participation. If you're at all interested in how we do what we do, please become a member. Please consider volunteering for one of the many committee roles that are out there. Come and speak, all sorts of things. So thank you again. Again, couldn't have done any of this without all the help from everybody. The real reason I'm up here, though, is to introduce our host. As Dave mentioned, our host this time is Comcast. Aside from the wonderful party last night, for which I thank you as well, free booze, yay. It was a really nice party. The host role is huge. We couldn't have these meetings without the host participation. One of the big things the host does is arrange the connectivity for the meeting. So if you guys are busy on the internet, instead of listening to me, you can thank Comcast for that because they provided the connectivity. They provide people to run the registration desk. They provide a lot of back-end support, a lot of help with publicity and things like that. So I'd like to welcome up our host, Kevin McIlerney, I hope I said that right, from Comcast, who will say a few words. And I'd also like to present you with this token of our appreciation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is Ren Provo here? I want a real big round of applause for last night because Ren put all that on together, and I think she did a great job. Thanks, Ren. So good morning and welcome to NANOG 53. Welcome to Philadelphia. Some of you may have been here before, and I saw from the attendee mailing lists a number of ex-Philadelphians have been contributing to where it's safe to walk and where it's good to eat. So within walking distance of here, you can find probably 200 different restaurants. You can eat at an Iron Chef restaurant every night. I think you'll really enjoy your time here as well as the socialization with your fellow internet engineers. Before I talk a few minutes, because I got 5 and Dave's going to fill in the ether after that. I want to thank a few people that really made a lot of this possible. First, I want to thank John Brzezowski for the NOG Lab and including Aaron in that effort. Barry Tishgard, Ren Provo, Betty Burke, Susan Hamlin, and John Curran really for working through the continuity of bringing NANOG together through a period of significant change. I really want to thank you for your leadership. I also want to thank Dave Meyer and the entire program committee for driving new and interesting agenda to NANOG. This is really what brings the relevance of how we steer the elements of the internet and how we really make big strides for what's happening next. Last but not least, I want to thank Tony Tauber for leading the network connectivity team. And I also want to segue into a little bit about the network connectivity because as those of you who were here 2 years ago when we hosted NANOG, the internet connectivity was 100 gig into I think we're at the Marriott, and it took a lot of coordination to get that 100 gig up. It was pre-standard, but it was a true router interface across optics at distance. That was 2 years ago, and today we still have trouble getting ubiquitous 100 gig out at cost-effective scale. So a message I want to send to the vendors, and Dave's next, so he's one of those vendors, is really I think we're moving too slow. 100 gig I think is late. We needed it 2 years ago, and I'm going to emphasize that with a few facts of things that we run. So 4 years ago within Comcast, if I added up all the ingress that we had coming into Comcast, it equals one of our city-to-city pairs today. Today we're carrying 4 terabits a second across the core, and then when it gets to the metro, it doubles with regional-based services all the way to the edge. We have to double that infrastructure about every 18 months. And as you can imagine, with that level of scale, 10 definitely doesn't cut it. 40 barely cuts it. And again, we needed 100 gig 2 years ago. If we take and extrapolate some of that standard growth path that the internet's seeing with a lot of the high volume content, our city-to-city link pairs will be in the 5 to 6 terabit range in 4 to 5 years. So as we start looking at how do we really drive the industry, what I encourage a lot of the folks here, a lot of the operators that deal with a lot of traffic, is to look through your 5-year plans, understand what your needs are going to be, and make sure you help drive the vendor community to deliver on some of the futures that the internet needs to handle. Really, we need more than incremental change. We need some big pushes to outside the box thinking. Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox because I only had 5 minutes. I'm probably already over that. So really, what I want to say is, enjoy your time here. Comcast is very happy to host NANOG and later Aaron, and look forward to talking to you guys in some of the social events. Thank you.